Hello, my name is Jim. Welcome to my booktube channel about books, reading and stuff. I was thinking I could show you compartment 7 of my bookshelves in this video, of my Victorian shelf, but I think it'll be better to give you a rundown of the top 10 Victorian novels. Number 10, we have Thomas Hardy. This is Return of the Native, but I'd say his best novel is The Mayor of Casterbridge, which is one of his Wessex novels. It's about the central character Michael Henchard. It begins with Michael Henchard is drunk and he auctions his wife and baby daughter off at a country fair, and a passing sailor buys them for 5 guineas. And this is the start of the novel. There's a lot happening in this novel, a lot of characters. We get the landscape of Wessex. The character Michael Henchard is very self-destructive, very dark. A lot of Thomas Hardy's novels are very dark. Other ones which could be considered as among his greatest novels are Far from the Madding Crowd, this one, Return of the Native, and the obscure Tessa D'Urville's. He's written a lot of very great novels. Number 9, I would suggest Silas Marner by George Eliot. When reviewers talk of George Eliot, they always cite Middlemarch as the best novel, but to my mind I prefer Silas Marner. This is my personal subjective choice. You can, in the comments below, tell me about your top 10 Victorian novels or just your favourite Victorian novels. Silas Marner is a simpler tale than Middlemarch. Middlemarch was described by writers like Virginia Woolf as the first adult novel. Silas Marner is the tale of a linen weaver who moves from a northern town where he's falsely accused of embezzling money to a rural town in the Midlands. And there he keeps very much to himself, working as a weaver until one day his money that he's been hoarding is stolen and a little girl walks into his life. It's an amazing story and it's a very heartwarming story. At number 8, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, that great wit from Ireland. Picture of Dorian Gray is a tale of double living, and it's full of Oscar Wilde's great wit. Number 7, The Odd Women by George Gissing. This was a proto-feminist novel. The odd women in the title are not strange women, it's just the statistics in the late Victorian times that there were far more women than men, so a lot of women would not be able to get married. And the tale is about typing pool, a typing agency. This is when typewriters started to take off and a lot of women got jobs in offices working as typists. Number 6, I have Our Mutual Friend by Charles Dickens. A rundown of Victorian novels wouldn't be complete without some Charles Dickens. Katie of Books and Things, who's read all of Dickens' novels, rates Our Mutual Friend as her favourite. This is the last completed novel by Dickens. It's set in London, it's set on the Thames. It's about a man who made his money from rubbish and his heir. The man dies and his heir comes to claim his inheritance, but he's murdered and his body is fished out of the Thames. There's lots of plots and subplots. It's a very interesting book. There's lots of wonderful characters and yes, thoroughly recommended. At number 5 I choose Elizabeth Gaskell. This is her first novel, Mary Barton, but I choose the novel North and South. Katie Lumsden of Books and Things described it as Pride and Prejudice with Mills. There's a lot about industrialisation, there's a lot about family relationships. It's an intriguing tale, and yes. Number 4, The Way We Live Now by Anthony Trollope. This is the longest book. It's a satire about the politics and about the financial scandals of the time. A list of the great Victorian Novels would not be complete without one Anthony Trollope. Number 3, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, the only novel Emily Bronte wrote. This is seen by some as this great romantic novel, but it's more about revenge and about romance, set on the backdrop of the Yorkshire Moors. Number 2, another Charles Dickens, this time David Copperfield. This is a first-person narrative. It's one of the places to start with Charles Dickens, and some say this is his most autobiographical novel because David Copperfield grows up to be a writer. This is his coming-of-age novel. There's so many wonderful Dickensian characters in this. There's ever so humble Uriah Heep. There's Mr. Micawber, who always thinks things will be better around the corner. There's Steerforth, a boy who David Copperfield idolises when he's at school, but his love for his friend is misplaced, and Steerforth is not the best of characters. And there's Peggotty, David Copperfield's nanny. There's so many rich, wonderful Dickensian characters in David Copperfield. Some honourable mentions would be Bram Stoker's Dracula, Wilkie Collins' A Woman in White, which was the best-selling Victorian novel, Robert Louis Stevenson, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, another tale about double living, The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte, which was a long time way ahead of its time, Vanity Fair by W.M. Thackeray for the character of Becky Sharp. Okay, can we have a drum roll? The greatest Victorian novel, in my opinion, is this one, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Many of you will be familiar with this. It was required reading for many people at school. It's an entrance novel to Victorian literature for many. It's a coming-of-age story for the central character Jane Eyre. It's not without its flaws. Maybe Jane loves Mr. Rochester too much, and Mr. Rochester's first wife is not without her problems. The novel is perfectly structured, the characters are very compelling. If you haven't read it, I would suggest you read it. Now I'll give you a quick look at my Victorian shelf. You see Charles Dickens, A Christmas Carol, Dombey and Son, The Mystery of Edwin Drood, The Old Curiosity Shop, Bleak House, Our Mutual Friend. There's the Observer's Book of Victoriana just above that. Then there's Dickens at Christmas, Elizabeth Gaskell's Mary Barton, George Eliot's Silas Marner, Jane Eyre, and then Thomas Hardy, The Return of the Native. Then I got a couple of other books that aren't Victorian. There's Dara O'Brien, Tickling the English, Bill Bryson's Mother Tongue, and Gaston Loren's Lingo. If you like this video, you can like and subscribe below, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye.
10.